champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. My name is EJ, and I got my man,
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show. We're Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom. You know what we do. We cover it all, laugh at the wall, while providing a platform to be heard. So without further ado, we jump right into it. We got to welcome our guests. Interesting stat, man. 7% of the Major League MLB professional staff is Black. 7%. Our guest is changing that. And that's what he's here to discuss. We're going to call him our Mr. October, all right, because he's here changing the game. And he was a top swingman. And not only for his school, HBCU Alcorn, he was a top swingman hitting that ball out the park for the SWAC conference, leading the SWAC conference as one of the top 10 players, not on his team, of the HBCU, all of them. That boy good. Hey, he's quoted to say that he loves the game of baseball because it taught him so much. And today we're going to hear some of those lessons. So please, scouting and development operations from the Pittsburgh Pirates, please clap it up for Brandon Rembert. Thank you, man.
Thank you guys for having me on. I'm excited to get into it.
Let's go, man. Well, hey, you know how we start the show, man. We always start the show with a shoot your shot moment. So this is where you can kind of tell us the shoot your shot moment. It could have been Little League when you were younger, maybe finding the miss, maybe it was just something you did in your job where you kind of say, hey, I'm going to shoot my shot. And you either won and made something magical happen or you learned a lesson. But either way, give us that shoot your shot moment.
My shoot my shot moment. I feel like my shoot my shot moment was when I started playing baseball in general. Like, obviously, when I was younger, I didn't really play many sports until I got 3 or 4 years old, and just taking that first step and going out there and playing, I feel like it's just shooting my shot, and that just created a snowball effect for the rest of my career. Now I'm working in baseball at the highest level, so just shooting my shot and just saying yes to playing a sport, I feel like is probably my shoot my shot for me, to be honest.
I love it. Now, so your love for baseball started from then?
Yeah, it started since I was 3 or 4. I had an older brother who used to play as well, and I just wanted to follow in his footsteps. So whenever he started playing baseball, I started playing baseball too, and that kind of worked his way up, middle school and then high school. But he didn't play in college. I went on to play in college, and then just sharing that love and passion with him kind of grew my love for the game as well. And I have a younger brother now who plays at Auburn. He plays baseball at Auburn now, and I don't know, we just been kind of a baseball family. So my love for the game just started at a young age.
And truly a baseball family, right? With 6 brothers and sisters, y'all's all out there. Y'all had your own squad.
we had a basketball team. We should have played basketball.
Oh, what you gonna say, MH?
No, I was gonna say that it's a baseball family.
Absolutely. So, and I did hear somewhere, as a baseball family, we ain't gonna say it too loud, but you guys grew up being Yankee fans, so it's got to be kind of a little bit exciting in the home front right now with the 2 teams matching up in the World Series coming up.
So actually, I didn't grow up a Yankee fan, but my brother and my grandmother and my grandfather did. I chose to be, a long time ago was now.
Yeah.
Long time ago, I did used to like the Red Sox. Obviously, I can't anymore. I'm with the Pirates, but yeah, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my older brother, they big time Yankees fans, and they're super excited that they're in the World Series right now. So
before we go on, give us a quick preview. What are we looking forward to for this World Series from your lens? What do you think?
For me, it's power on power. Just some of the biggest power you will ever see with Shohei Ohtani, and then Aaron Judge. Monsters, absolute monsters. Different people, different specimen, different breed. And you go on money against money. That's some of the highest spending teams. I mean, you got $700 million player, one player, $700 million. So it's money versus money, power versus power. Big franchise versus big franchise. I mean, it's what you want to see in the World Series. It's probably going to be a lot of people watching I wouldn't be surprised like if it broke some records for like
Numbers.
attendance. Yeah.
You know, Manfred's happy to see this, boy. I mean, the world, like, they haven't seen this since we called it, since we sit. Shout out to Mr. October. They haven't really seen that since Reggie was like, you know, got his namesake in that big game, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be huge. I'm excited to watch.
So speaking of one of the players that you mentioned, I saw a crazy thing about Aaron Judge, his like senior year in high school, where it was like he averaged 18 and 12 on the basketball court. He was batting 500 and like 10 home runs as a high school. And then he was, I think he had 15 touchdowns at receiver or tight end or something like that in football as well. So I guess I say that to say, was there any other sports that you fell into as well?
Yeah, I played basketball, football, soccer. Like my mom and my dad put me in a lot of different sports, and I'm thankful that they did. You know, like it ended up helping me be good at baseball because like I became more athletic from playing those other sports. And I personally would recommend like all younger kids to like go and play other sports. Like it's going to show up in, you know, like your final sport. And there's tons of players that in the Major League Baseball right now that have played tons of sports like when they were younger. And like that just helps add and build to that athleticism. So yeah, I did play a lot of sports, and I would highly recommend a lot of younger kids to do the same.
Absolutely, man. That's one thing because, you know, we are getting so hyper-focused with the training and the things like that at a young age, you know, but you still need to touch those other sports, works other muscles. Hell, I remember my mom had me in dance class, you know what I'm saying, to keep getting good footwork. So no, I totally get it, man. But speaking of like athletes in multiple sports, man, and, you know, we may touch on it later with other references, but like, do you think it's going to happen again, your Bo Jacksons or your Deion Sanders, you know, those two-way players, right? Like, because that was a time, right? And it's rare already, you know, but do you just think the way the games evolve, football and baseball for that matter, to where you would have a two-sport athlete again in the pros?
That's a really good question. My answer is yes, but it's not going to be to the level of like a Deion Sanders or like a Bo Jackson, because these players in MLB and NFL are so good now, and they dedicate their entire life to one thing. And like when you throw in the mix another sport, I mean, it's just going to be hard to be dedicated to two things. Like I've heard that saying that goes like, one who chases two rabbits catches neither. So it's going to be like one of those kind of things. Like, yeah, you're going to be chasing both sports, but I don't think you're going to be able to play at a high level like Bo Jackson did or something like that. But Bo Jackson was also a different athlete. Like he's like once in a lifetime type of athlete. And I don't think someone like him is going to come around again. But I want to say yes, that there will be another two-sport athlete at a high level, but I don't think it's going to be like the level of like a Bo Jackson or anything like that.
Yeah, shout out to my don't forget about my man Kyler Murray, EJ. I know don't forget about my guy, man. Let's throw that man in that conversation. I was waiting for you to mention him, but
I was gonna mention him, but he didn't make it to the big leagues. He didn't make it to the big leagues.
I mean, you know the draft process. Toppin, like, you know, he was first round in what, both sports, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, I think he's first round in both sports.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to throw my guy in
there. Yeah. I'll give him his flowers.
Yeah, we got to do that. So growing up in Florida, I know it's a hotbed for spring training and all that. Did you have any experiences that growing up with spring training there in Florida?
I did not in spring training, but like in where I was in Pensacola, we have a minor league team there. It's a AA team. So like growing up, I would go watch them. Like we'll watch some of those players, and now a lot of those players are in the big leagues. Like I saw them when they were younger in the minor leagues, like trying to get better and try to make it. And like now they're all like, a lot of them have made it. So like I wasn't around spring training, but I was around that environment of being in a minor league park and seeing some of those the high level talent, you know, make their way up to the big leagues, which was been really cool.
And then just the talent that comes out of the Pensacola area, right? Like I'm a Florida boy too, so you know, St. Pete, Tampa area. And then just kind of like just to see, you know, doing the research of, you know, where you went to school and just the legacy of just talent from not just sports, right? All kind of figures. So I did want to ask, I was kind of getting like some of that background, Carlos, like this whole narrative of what you've done is really amazing and really attacking that, you know, that stat of just the lowest percentage of people in the front office. Have you, or as you're doing this, right? Because you don't see people like you, are you kind of learning the history? And one thing I want to say as a part of that history is, have you ever been to the Negro League Museum or is that on your list to see the one in Kansas City?
Yeah, that's on my list to see. I just haven't made my way out there. I definitely want to continue to learn about the history of the game and like continue to project that history like once I continue to learn more about it. But yes, I definitely want to visit that museum. I definitely want to keep diving into the history of the game, specifically like for African American people. And I think like that knowledge is just going to help me, and it's going to help a lot of other people as well. And I want to just help be a catalyst to continue to spread that knowledge and like get that word out there. So for sure,
absolutely.
Yeah.
When you head out there, let us know, man. We'll introduce you to the press.
Yeah,
we had the honor of have Bob Kendrick, who's the president of the Negro League, and we call him Uncle Larry. We also have Larry, who founded the museum. So really great friends of the show. So definitely will help you kind of connect and kind of grow that knowledge as you know you're leading the way for future people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What about the game? I grew up playing football as a personal thing, and then you know I kind of stuck with it. And you growing up playing baseball, you stuck with it. And there's certain sounds and smells of football that like it will never go away, like that feeling. So what was those feelings playing baseball pretty early? I know you mentioned you come from a baseball family. What are those kind of feelings early on that was like, yeah, baseball is my stuff?
That's a good question. Like for me, like when I knew like I'm never stopping in baseball is when like I would obsess over it. Not like an unhealthy obsession, but like I'm always watching videos of baseball. I'm always watching games of baseball. I'm always talking to my family, my brothers, my friends about baseball. I'm always trying to go to the field. If I'm not at the field, I'm trying to go watch another game somewhere. I'm always trying to learn about the game. And that's when I knew like, yeah, this is probably where I need to be. And it was just natural. It wasn't like a force like, oh, go watch baseball. It's like, no, I just like loved watching it, loved talking about it, like loved playing it. Like when I like left college my last year, I stopped doing the baseball stuff for like a couple months, and I just felt like, nah, that's not right. This ain't it. And then I got back in the game. I was like, okay, I'm back. Yeah, this is like meant for me. Like this is my purpose and things like that.
Was there a player that you was like, hey, I want to shape my game, kind of like?
Back in the day, it was Manny Ramirez.
Ooh.
Manny Ramirez. Yeah, I used to love him. I just like he was just a fun player to watch. He's very talented, but also like just a very fun person to watch. He just did whatever he wanted out there. And I like the dreads that he had. So like I actually had those little dreads when I was younger, like 10 years old. Like I had to grow the hair out, try to be like Manny. But yeah, I modeled my game after him. Like even on the video games, I'm trying to play with Manny and the Red Sox and all that stuff. But yeah, I was a big Manny Ramirez fan. He was just entertaining. He was a good player, and he was also very entertaining.
Definitely was entertaining. You had that big swing like Manny too?
No, I didn't have a big swing. I tried it, but it didn't work out the way it did for him.
Love it. So let's get that transition, man. So want to get into the college days, right? So your parents allowed you to get out the house without going to FAMU. How does that happen, right? So, I know there was a couple of stops before, but this is Black in Sports, so we're going to focus on Alcorn. Yes. But talk about that process of ultimately choosing Alcorn, and then the conversation when the parents are FAMU alums.
Yeah, so like I loved Alcorn. Just when I took a visit there, it just felt like home, and like the coach there, he's actually at FAMU now. My head coach there, like he had just such a big emphasis like on like developing yourself outside of just the game, like thinking about your future, thinking about academics, making sure you're going to class, making sure you're making good grades. And my mom really liked that, and then I also liked that as well. And it was like true, like we had to go to study hall, we had to make sure our grades were good, and I just really liked that. Like a lot of coaches, like like they want you to be good on the field, but like, okay, they don't care as much about the academics. As long as you perform for me, like we're good. But like he actually cares about like your career and like your future. And that's one of the biggest things that drew me to Alcorn. But
and you had coach, was it Willie, coach Reggie Willie?
No, I had Richardson. Brandon Richardson. Yeah, he was like his last year was my last year. And then they brought in Reggie. But yeah, I don't know. I love the school. It just felt like family. Like I did want to go to FAMU, but they never extended an invitation for me to go there. So
there you go.
I was like, let me go where I'm wanted.
So, quiet is kept. A lot of times, especially MH and I on this show, have to remind people that HBCU is Division One. So, how was it, kind of playing, that Division One? I know you played some HBCUs, but you guys also played outside of that, right? Like probably tournaments and things like that. So, just how was it playing? You know what I mean? And you didn't just play; you played, right?
Yeah.
So, how was it, man? How was that experience?
It was good. Like I love playing, at the Division One level. Like we did play against bigger schools. Like we played against Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Like we played against those bigger schools, but obviously like we weren't as good because they had like the talent pool is bigger there because they have more money. Like they can prepare a little bit better, nicer weight room, nicer batting cage, nicer facilities. So they're just going to be a better team. But honestly, we almost beat Ole Miss one game. We went into extra innings. We lost 9-8 against Ole Miss, which was like almost like a very, very big upset. And it was like all over YouTube, all over like Twitter, all this stuff. We almost upset Ole Miss, and we actually had a good team. Like I wasn't surprised that we almost beat them. But like we're HBCU, we're overlooked. We got all those black players on the team. They're probably raw, don't know what they're doing. Like that kind of the stigma behind it. But we actually had like a pretty solid team. But yeah, that experience was good. Just being able to play at that level.
I'm laughing because you said raw.
I marked that down for you to come back because, like, we always get those words, right, MH?
Yeah.
Yeah, fittingly. Yeah. So I guess you played in the outfield. So kind of describe your game. Give us a little bit of a scouting report on your game, particularly in college.
Yeah, my game in college was the hit, to be honest. Like I played outfield, but like I mean I was okay. Like I was decent speed. I had a pretty solid arm, but like I was there to hit. I was there to bring the runs in. I was there to consistently show up every day and perform, and that's why I was out there, and I knew that. So yeah, the outfield was okay, but like the bat was a little bit better than okay. Yeah.
Hey, you saw that humble. Hey, just a little bit better than okay. That boy smacking the balls out the park. Balls. I love it.
Yeah.
So kind of a narrative that's kind of been we've seen it in a couple of social things, and we've had a couple of MLB things and following that. I was surprised when it first came out of the number of white players or non-black players that are on the HBCU teams, like taking scholarship spots.
Mm-hmm.
And for the amount of HBCUs with full scholarship baseball teams, there's a large, like almost maybe is it a quarter or something like that? I think I read in the Tides report or something like that. But it's a big. Were you shocked to see that is that something that's known in the kind of baseball community?
I wouldn't say I was shocked.
Okay.
Like, I feel like that's kind of known.
Known, all right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, I wasn't too shocked. I mean, there's a lot of Latin American players and white players that go to HBCUs, but like baseball is a predominantly like white and Latin American sport. So I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, there's some schools that had like a good amount of African Americans, but like even our school, like we had Latin American we had Latin American players and white players and stuff like that at HBCU. I mean, Alabama State is the same way. Bethune-Cookman's the same way. Like a lot of these schools do have a lot of Hispanic and white players. I mean, that's just kind of where HBCU baseball is going.
The nature of the game.
Yeah.
So, as far as demeanor, right? Like, so, football players, basketball players, known to talk trash, like have a little bit of bravado. There's some characters in baseball, like because we can talk about Ricky Henderson, who always referred to himself in first person. But how do you see that, or is that in baseball, right? Because like a lot of people don't, come up through it. But is there trash talking and a little bit of a bravado swag with baseball players?
There is in the swag. In the swag, there's a lot of trash talking. A lot.
Love it.
From the dugout, players talking to each other, like it's a lot. Like when we were playing bigger teams, it wasn't as much because I don't know if they felt bad for us. I don't know what that is. It was a lot from fans, but like not from players as much. But like when I was in the swag, there was a lot. I'm telling you, a lot of just jawing back and forth, especially like a big game or like teams that don't like each other. Like like rivalries, like us and Jackson State, like there was gonna be some smack talk for sure.
I love it, man. You competed during a very interesting time in our world. Battling like the pandemic and all those things. As much as you would like to share, what's kind of your experience being a collegiate athlete kind of during that time?
It was weird. It was a weird time. So like when I first got word of COVID, like I didn't think much of it. I didn't think it was gonna be like something that was gonna shut everything down. But I remember we were about to go play Alabama State, and we were just coming off of spring break or something like that, and we were about to get on the road. And then our coach like called us into a meeting, and they were like, "We're gonna have to send y'all home." I was like, "All right, we'll just go home for a couple days and let us know when we come back." But we never came back. we never came back until that next year. And then they put all these rules and regulations, with playing, like you have to get a COVID test before the game. And like, if you're positive, you got to quarantine, can't play for a certain amount of days, like masks at practice. Like we didn't have like the actual mask. We had like I don't know what it's called, like the ski mask or whatever you have to put over our face. Like it was just a weird time and something I don't want to ever go through again. It's crazy looking back at it now. Like, yeah, I lived through that. And like that's something like I don't want to ever have to go back to again. But yeah, it was just weird. Like nobody had to ever navigate something like that before. So like nobody knew really what to expect or how to like handle it. It was just like creating a bunch of like freestyling at that point, like creating a bunch of rules, and like nobody knew how to handle it. Nobody knew how bad it was gonna be. So it was just weird. Like I really didn't know how to navigate it myself. But yeah.
Jeez. So one more before we kind of jump into the career, man, and talk about that. Unless MH has something. You see, Ken Griffey started an HBCU classic. What's it called, like the Swingman Classic or something like that?
Yeah.
When did he start that? Was that after your career, or like was that the first year it started, like right when you were ending? Because it's good to see something like that. And did they have? If they didn't have the Swingman, was there any kind of other game highlighting HBCU students to get some shine for scouts and things like that?
Yeah, I think the HBCU, the Swingman started, I think, a little bit after me. I'm not sure what year, but when I was there, we didn't have it. But we did have the Andre Dawson Classic, was something that MLB Network put on for us early in the season. And it's a tournament in New Orleans at the Youth Academy there. And it's just like a couple games that'll be on MLB Network, and they're just like highlighting mainly HBCU teams and giving them a platform, which I really respected and which I really liked. And it was good. It was a fun time. Like we got like interviewed and things like that. And HBCU players don't really get that kind of TV time all the time. So that was like, I really respected MLB for like trying to bring attention to HBCUs, trying to give us a platform and things like that. So I salute them for that. That was huge.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. So did you have one more before I jumped over?
Yeah, just one more. Just kind of wanted to touch on like battling through adversity. Obviously, injuries are a part of the game and a part of career sometimes. So just kind of wanted you to share your experience of battling through injury and your mental strength to get back, doing to what you're getting to now from battling through injury, essentially.
Yeah. Injuries is part of the game. It sucks. It sucks a lot, especially when you're like feeling really good, you're playing really good, like you're like really hot, and then like boom, like injury. Like one that kind of, I wouldn't say ended my career, but like was part of ending my career, happened at like a practice, like on a random day. I was playing good, I was feeling really good, and boom, hamstring. I was out for like most of the year. Like played maybe 8 or 9 games that year, and that was my last season. So like it's definitely tough because like especially like being a player that like had expectations, like was supposed to be that guy on the team, was supposed to be that guy in the conference, and then like I'm hurt, like I can't help the team, and then watching my team lose, like and it was just like it was a lot, especially on me mentally, but like you have to get through it. It's part of life, it's part of the game, and you just navigate it and take it day by day. And
now,
everything works out.
Did the sport is like baseball itself maybe help you mentally because you bat 300, that's 30%, but you really good. That's a lot of failure.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of failure. So did just the nature of the game, dealing with failure, kind of help you through the injury, maybe?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Because like you said, like you get a hit 3 times out of 7 times, like you're good, but you're failing the other 7 times. So you have to have some type of mental toughness mental fortitude, mental toughness, some relentlessness, like to be good in this game. Because like you might strike out 4 times and you have to bounce back the next day and be good. Like if you don't have a strong mindset, like you won't be good ever at baseball. You have to be able to just bounce back and not hold on to things. Like one of my coaches like would tell me, just like, after an at bat, flush it. You have another one. Focus on the next at bat. Just flush your last at bat. Whatever happened, good or bad. You hit a home run, forget about it. You strike out, forget about it. Like it's always next. What's next? Up next. And you have to have that mindset like within that game if you want to be successful. You can't like dwell on things whether good or bad. Your highs can't be too high, your lows can't be too low. You got to be incredibly even in this game if you want to be good.
Yeah, MH will definitely tell you that DB mindset, right?
Oh, for sure. But I'm always interested about baseball in the same respect, because while it's a team sport, there's a lot of man on man, myself mental, but I'm really battling with you on the plate. I see this, or I know this, or I scouted this, or where you're delivering this. There's got to be a lot of just mental jargon that honestly, I have a lot of respect for baseball players at bat. And it's kind of like just, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of mental game that goes into that. Football is just like, hey, man, your feet here, you lined up here. I know you're going this way. Let me take that away from you. You know what I mean? Like, what was that like, I guess, mental interaction with pitchers on the at-bat, time to time?
My coach would always say, this is a thinking man's game. Baseball is a thinking man's game. You have to have this. You have to have the ability. They call it baseball IQ. You have to be able to use this. Like you have to have anticipation, and that comes with time. And like some people are just gifted and are just intelligent people and are really just mentally blessed to play baseball. Like it's not always about the physical with baseball. Like there's people that are 5'5", 5'6" playing the game, and there's also like 6'7", but like they're both on the same field. It's more so about skill set, and then like you said, like the mind game of it, like being able to like anticipate certain things, being able to guess right. I know a lot of players guess right based on like certain like sequences and things like that. But yeah, it's a thinking man's game, which could be a lot. Like it could get you in your head a lot.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Sometimes you just have to think like just take the thinking out of it. But like if you want to be good, like you have to learn how to think at a high level and anticipate and just have an IQ, have some baseball intelligence. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like from a football perspective, it's like we were always told that we react, right? And just as long as you just go, you don't have to think, just react. And if you make a mistake, our coach was like, make it aggressively, right? That's
full speed.
Yeah. And baseball is not the same. Like
it's not the same.
Yeah, you gotta think before you throw that ball to somewhere. Like think before you do that.
Yeah, because like if you like, oh man, should I throw the first at home? You have to think about that because not only you got to field it, but like what's the proper play that you should make in that sequence? So no, y'all got a lot going on, man. So hey, we want to jump into the career. And we're having so much fun. So like again, man, Brandon, thank you for having you on. But I want to start with, because you've done some things like once like the injury and back and forth to baseball and chasing that dream, because right, like we all do this with that dream to go to the pros, right? Like so we don't want to discount that, but we want to give the people more. We want to start with your days at the Pittsburgh Pirates. So in a quick essential, like give us that, because you've had a couple of positions and you just got another promotion. Shout out to you that you told us pre-show, but kind of just give us that like where you started and that quick recap of where you are today, and then we'll get into some questions. But want to give you that time to kind of tell you the progression of getting started.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. So my first year with the Pirates was in 2022. I got hired as a minor league baseball operations assistant, and I was based out of the Dominican Republic, which was scary at first. I was scared. I was like, when they offered me the job, I was like, I'll let y'all know. Give me some days to think about it. Like, I'm in a different country. I'm looking up, is DR safe? Like, is it safe there? So, but it was one of the best years of my life. Like, we all,
every black man that's listening to this right now knows that DR was definitely. I was surprised you came back, like, because I was pretty sure I was like, "Are you still in the DR, man?" But I'm sorry.
I almost didn't come back. But yeah, that was one of the best years of my life. Like, I learned so much about myself and learned so much also about the game. Like, if you guys don't know, like, a lot of those players down in the DR are like 16, 17, 18 years old, but they're professional high schoolers basically.
Oh,
So
it's a whole nother level down
there.
there.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level down there. They live, breathe, and sleep that game. So it was so cool to be able to experience that and just grow myself professionally, personally, and just like, start my career down there. And then my second year, I was in the same role, but I was actually in Florida. I got promoted to Florida. I was working with the low A team there. I don't know if you guys know Paul Skeens. That's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. For the Pirates, I was able to be with him for a little bit and stuff like that.
High draft pick.
First pick of the draft.
Yeah. Okay. I do know.
And yeah, as soon as you said that, and I do know as well, because like I have family, like, I spent some time in Pittsburgh before I moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I have family that's still there. And there's like somehow we're not going to keep him for very long because he's so dynamic, right?
Yeah, he's different. So I was able to meet him and spend some time with him and get to know him a little bit more personally than some other people have. So that was pretty good. And then this past year, I moved over into the scouting department as a development scout. I started that. And then now I just got promoted a couple weeks ago. Now I'm the area supervisor here in North Texas, Oklahoma, and then a little bit of Louisiana. So I supervise all those players and meet with them and just stay on top of it. That's a ton of stuff there. So that's kind of how my career like kind of crescendoed in baseball. Yeah.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
And then I think an interesting fact too that you want to share, right? It's like you actually got the training to do this, right? So you went through a couple of scouting trainings from the MLB as well as Pittsburgh Pirates has their own kind of scouting training.
Yeah.
How invaluable was that, right? Getting the education, because a lot of times, we get opportunities and then it's sink or swim, right? So kind of tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it was incredibly valuable. I mean, I think going through those trainings like helped me to where I am today. So like the first one, they call it scout schools. So the first one that I went to was actually held by the MLB, and it's like a diversity scout school. So it was like African Americans, like people of color, and also females that they handpicked to go to this school. So I got recommended by my assistant farm director. Like they all highly recommended me to go there. And they all wrote letters of recommendation for me to be able to go there. And that was truly where I started to think okay, I can actually do this. I can actually be a scout. I was able to talk to GMs and assistant GMs and meet some incredible high level executive people throughout my time there. And they just poured into me and things like that. So that in itself was super vital in where I am right now. And then
is that the one that was in Arizona during?
That was the one that was in Arizona. Yeah.
Do they still do that? Because that is big. I saw that I think you had a certificate from it as well.
Yeah.
Do they still do that program? That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
they do it every year now. I don't know when it started. It started I think a couple of years before I went, but now they're doing that, and it's helping so many people land jobs. I think I want to say 90% of the people that went landed jobs working in Major League Baseball, which is
dope.
Different. That's different. So that was huge for me. And also the Pirates one, that was big for me too. It was just Pirate staff, just getting to know them and them just pouring into me and teaching me more about the game and how they do things and things like that, and helping me build connections with the people in that group. That helped me as well. So.
Now, I would imagine in the scouting world, there's a lot of. Am I in the Matrix? Can y'all see me? I feel like I'm glitching out. Y'all got me?
We got you.
All right. I imagine there's a lot of writing when it comes to reporting, communicating through, writing, so to speak. So did you have writing in your background, or is this something that you obtained, through in schools and everything?
I used to like to write. I was very, as weird as it sounds, I was good at writing essays. I would make A's on all of them, and they would be lengthy, in depth. So I was always good at writing, just not good at writing about baseball. So I just took my good at writing and turned that into good at writing about baseball. And obviously I'm still not where I need to be. Like I'm still learning, still getting better, still trying to learn different things from different people within my organization, from other people as well. But like, yeah, like I was always good at writing. It was just like learning the lingo of scouting and like being able to make, turn my thoughts into like put them on paper. I think it was a challenge, but like that's basically all, like having my thoughts on paper and like make it where it's digestible and easily readable. And that's all it is. It takes time though.
Now I would imagine, because I mean, somebody that played and is natural, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's nice, he can play. But it's like, what can he do? Can you write the report? How do you describe that? So I would imagine that was a little bit of a process there.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but like it took me a couple of years probably to kind of like find my way of writing, find my find my voice in the way that I write reports. And it's still like forever evolving. Like I'm gonna get better until I'm like, till I'm done with the game. Like I'm always gonna change things, and I'm always trying to learn from different people and pick different parts of how, okay, I like how he said this, let me try this. Or I didn't like how they said this, I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it like this. So it's still evolving. I'm still trying to get better at it too. But yeah, it's a process for sure.
So along with just kind of the scouting world, just kind of getting that, not day by day, right? Because each day is pretty different. But is there just a lot of travel in that, right? Like even though like now you're stationed, is there a lot of travel within your station? Because I got to believe going to see games, going to see players, right? Like all of that kind of work that's encompassing and kind of getting that story or that narrative of a player that you're going after.
It's a lot. It's a lot of traveling. I'm going to just keep it real. It's a lot of traveling. But like you get used to it. Like at the end of the day, like you still get to go and drive and watch baseball for a living. So like you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Like you're living people's dreams. Like I get to wake up, get to go drive to the field. I go get to watch baseball, and I get paid to watch baseball. So, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of driving, and you just have to learn how to live on the road. To be honest, you have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn, what's the good food places, where's the good hotels to stay, where's some good, not so good places to stay. And that just like comes with time. But yeah, like now I'm good at living on the road. I know how to pack. I know how to pack quickly. I know what to pack. I know where to go now. I mean, it's just like, it was obviously a challenge because like I'm such a routine oriented person. And like not because like now games are like different times during the day and things like that, and different places, having to like adjust and tweak my routine daily. Like it was a challenge, but now like I'm able to adapt in whatever situation I'm put in, thankfully, just with time.
Now you mentioned, and forgive me if I'm getting too far ahead of myself, EJ, but you mentioned in the DR, they were in kind of high school playing baseball, professionals, 16, 17 years old. You think that's something that could be duplicated? And I know the NFL, from my experience, they do something similar in London and in Australia, where there's some kids that are going to school and playing football like that. That's part of their process. So do you think that's something that could be duplicated here in the States, or is it being duplicated at this point?
Yes and no. Like, okay, IMG is like a school that kind of is doing that. Like, yeah, you got to go to class, but you like baseball is why you're here. So like there's some schools like that, I guess. I don't know what they call them, like prep schools. But like at that level that they're doing it in the DR, I don't think that'll be duplicated because like they get paid. Like, yeah, they get paid, and there's no high schoolers. Well, I mean, nowadays with NIL, I mean, they got, yeah. I mean, baseball is probably not seen as much in high school, but some of those football players, but like at that level, the way that they're duplicating, like, no, I don't think that's. I mean, I don't think that's even meant for here though. Like those kids, like they live, they breathe baseball. Like that's their way. That's how they feed their family. It's different. Like a lot of those their parents, like they send money to their parents and like stuff like that. Like it's different. It's different down there. It's not the same struggle here.
Can you give me a little piece of the drafting process? I know there's a lot of times. I think I went to school with a catcher that got drafted, and I don't know what round in high school, and I don't know where he ended up in his career. But kind of give us there's a lot of different stories that I've heard of, people that got drafted pretty early. Give me the process of how that works up until you get into the minor leagues, the doubles and the triples of that.
So like what goes into the draft, or like
yeah, what goes into a draft to say like, hey, we're drafting the senior in high school in North Texas, essentially.
Yeah.
In that process, it goes until he's able to get to the AA and AAA level.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'll try to summarize it. So let me see. How will I start this? So there's obviously a bunch of areas, a bunch of regions. Like, so all the area supervisors will like turn in the players that they like and bring them forward, in the draft room, right? And then like we have regional supervisors and we have national supervisors who will like cross-check those players. So like if we say, oh, I really like this player, I'll write a report on him, turn him in. And then like if they really like him, then like the regional supervisor will go see him, and then the national supervisor will go see him. And then in some cases, like the scouting director will go see that player. But yeah, I mean, after that, we all like fly up to the draft and things like that. And then like all those players that we bring forward, like we rank them. It's called a preference list, or pref list is what we call them. So it's like thousands of players that we rank out based off of like what we want, like talent, obviously, signing ability, like signability, and some other like small factors and things like that, like how they look in our model and things like that. And then after they're drafted, they either get sent to like rookie ball or low A. That's where they usually start. Like some may start at high A, but it's really rare. And then they just kind of work their way up through the system. Like that's pretty much how it is. And some make it to the big leagues and some don't.
Yeah.
But we're drafting and hoping that they can make an impact at the big league level.
So the projection part of that has to be pretty nailed on with what you do. I guess similar to basketball, where I feel like at a young age they're getting drafted. You're almost projecting a young man's future of how his body shapes out. What tools, maybe his background, who his family is, and you're almost projecting years and years out. It's a little different with football, but is projection a big part of that process?
Projection's a huge part of it, but the thing is, like, you're probably going to be wrong a lot. Because like, yeah, you can do all this background work, like you can look at the parent. Like, that's what I do. Like, I see how the parents look. Like, what are the brothers athletic or sisters athletic? Like, how's the body look? What's the frame? What's the bone width? Like, you can look all that stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody's different. And everybody grows differently. Everybody works differently. And some people get a lot bigger and stronger and live up to their potential. And some people that you think that will grow bigger and stronger don't. And that's just the reality of things. But like, you have to dig into like as much information as you can. Basically, like an educated guess, a hypothesis. Like that's what you bring to the table at the end of the day. And a lot of the times you could be right, and a lot of the times you're going to be wrong. But you try to put yourself in the best position as possible and give yourself as much information as you can, like on the background of that player, to be able to make that decision. And at the end of the day, like, it's up to them if they want to live up to it or not.
And really quick, on top of that, what can a player do to prepare themselves, right? Like, because, in football, and we speak from a football perspective, because Amish and I both, play football. What prep can they do? You know what I mean? Prepare themselves. Like, is there like a combine? Is there like, getting an individual trainer to get you, seen or things like that? What can players do that are coming out of college?
Coming out of college, or just college?
Or wherever they get signed, because like they're coming out of high school getting signed too.
Yeah.
So what can an athlete do to prepare themselves, college or high school? Or is it just about the performance and the the predictions?
If you're good, you'll be seen. Like, if you're good, like, people are gonna know who you are. I'd say for like a high school player, like performance, or high school and college, just you got to perform. Like, at the end of the day, like, we want guys that are going to perform at a high level consistently. And with a lot of like high school players, they get on they call it travel ball, which is like the showcase like circuit, throughout the summer. That's probably the biggest way to get your name out there. Like, you go on the circuit and you can perform well and add to your draft stock. And I've known players that didn't perform well in the summer and like their draft stock really plummeted off of like 1 or 2 games because it's a short look. So yeah, it's really for high school players. It's just the showcase circuit. College players, like summer ball is also a big thing. Like they go and play like in these big leagues, like the Cape Cod League and stuff like that. Like that's also a big part. But if you play at a bigger school, like you're going to get seen. Like that's just that's just the reality of things. Like if you're like at a SEC school, like scouts are going to show up, and if you perform, like you're going to get looked at. So
love it. All right, MH, you ready for the quick hits?
Yes, sir. So Brandon, just some quick questions for our guests to learn you better. Am I good?
Yeah.
Y'all got me?
Yeah.
Text or call?
Next.
Pancakes or waffle?
Waffles, 100%.
Apple or Android?
Apple. It's not even a question. Apple.
You can take that tone out your voice.
Bro, I'm telling you. Early bird gets the worm or late night grind?
Can I say both?
You can say both.
You got to do both.
Hey, when you going to sleep, bro?
barely sleep.
Breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Kevin Hart or Cat Williams?
Kevin Hart. I like Kevin Hart.
Hero or villain?
Hero.
All right. Would you rather play it safe and go, I guess, extra innings at this point, or risk it and win it in 9?
Risk it. Let's risk it and win it in 9.
Okay.
I know.
Your favorite walk-up song?
Favorite walk-up song. Oh man, you put me on the spot. Favorite walk-up song. My walk-up song in college was Solo by Future, and I really like that song. That's probably my favorite.
All right. My last one, I ask everybody. The Wood or Love and Basketball? Which one? What's the better classic?
I haven't seen The Wood, so I would have to say Love and Basketball.
All right, so
I've never heard of that.
Brandon, we got a homework assignment for you, brother.
I don't even know what that is.
What's my man say? He's like, I play baseball. Didn't he say that on The Wood, EJ?
Yes.
Yeah. Brandon, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah,
I need you to watch that.
One of them hotel nights when you writing them reports, you throw that on.
Just throw it up on the TV.
Throw it on there. Yeah. We don't need a follow-up report on that.
That's what we love those, man. All right. So jumping into the what we kind of call the winner circle, and we're going to do a little bit something different because in the winner circle we asked for a platform, and I like what you said as far as a platform to talk about the future of baseball. So I think we're just going to kind of off the cuff ask you just like a couple of questions because I think it's more why we have you on the show, right? Is just getting more, minorities into baseball, right? We got to get the culture into baseball. Yeah. We used to be dominant in the game, right? Yeah. So, there's like a lot of myths and a lot of things. So we're just going to talk about the future of baseball, everything from, making the game faster, changes, things like that. So I'm going to kind of kick it off and then I'll let MH jump in. But what is, I'm going to start with this one. What do you think about the Field of Dreams game that they've been kind of starting off the last couple of years?
I like it. I mean, I like the opportunity. I like the field is nice in itself, and I just think it's just a good opportunity, just to highlight what that represents, and on a big stage. Like I've loved watching it. Like I haven't watched it the last year, I don't think, but I just love like them bringing like a platform just to that game and like talking about what it represents and like highlighting that. I think it's good, and I think it's something that they could keep doing.
And they've been doing a great job of it, right? Like, so like you said, the aesthetics of it, the coolness, the kids, people coming out the cornfields for it, like the movie, all those stuff. And this year, the biggest recap was Reggie Jackson giving everybody a history lesson about how it was for him coming back to that field. So that was definitely a great moment, even if you didn't see the game, because I don't think I caught the game, but I definitely saw Reggie Jackson tell him how he felt, man. But that's good stuff. And it's needed, though, right? Because it is a part of the history of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Go ahead, Mitch.
No, you mentioned travel ball earlier, and I know sometimes, not everybody can afford travel ball. What's kind of your thoughts on that process, and how do we, I guess, help in that regard from an earlier standpoint?
Yeah, travel ball is expensive. I'm gonna keep it like it's a lot of money, thousands. Like if you want to play on a pretty good team, but it's needed. Like if you want to be seen, you got to go in front. You got to be where the people are. You got to be where the scouts are. You got to be where the recruiters are. That's something that I've been debating, or that I've been thinking about myself. I've been asked that question, like, how do we get, people that can't afford, travel ball, and the travel ball? I think it's going to have to come through like donations or something like that, or like creating a team, like where funds are taken care of. That's the only way that I can really see it like happening, unless they just make it overall cheaper. But thousands of dollars, and you got equipment, jerseys, hotel stays, food, it's like really hard, for a low income family. But
They're going to get an NIL collective for that.
They need. That's honestly a good idea. Get some NIL money for that. Like you're gonna have to have a sponsor. So somebody's gonna have to sponsor a team, whether that's like a former MLB player or like someone who's like very wealthy. Like you're gonna have to get a sponsor. Travel ball is expensive. It's a lot of money.
Now, speaking of former MLB players, so during the pandemic or kind of coming out of that, we saw a lot of social injustice and just really highlighting on you saw the Black Lives Matter, more spotlights on HBCUs. And then at that time, you saw a lot of celebrities and people going back to HBCUs more. For us, maybe more on the football side, there was a couple of basketball, like you had Penny went to, was it Memphis, MH, correct me if I'm wrong, or Tennessee. Anyway, but you had Eddie George go back, and you seeing Deion went to Jackson and those things. Are there any MLB people going back or highlighting or pushing HBCUs that you know of at the university level, right? Because we early talked about Ken starting his swingman, but are you seeing any kind of talk or navigation or push or support for that?
That's a really good question. I haven't seen it on a grand scale, but I can't speak on if that's happening or not, because it could be something where it's behind the scenes where the MLB players donating money or helping with facilities or something like that. I don't think it's been too much in the news per se, but I don't know if it's happening or not. I mean, I hope it's happening. I really do. I hope some of those MLB players are helping the HBCUs out. But I can't put my finger on it completely because I just don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So, but I want to say yes, it is happening. I do want to say yes.
Good stuff. And then, life kind of imitating art or reality or however that saying goes. Moneyball was a really big picture, movie that kind of came out, right? And it just really talked about how the stats influence the major decision. How has stats, and I'm going to take it one further, technology kind of influxed or flooded into the game as we talk about the future of the game?
Yeah, it's huge. It's it's pretty much everything right now. Some scouts are out of jobs because technology is taking over. They're relying. A lot of teams are relying on analytics and stats and numbers and things like that, which do help, but you also need that other lens, that technology can't see, that technology can't pick up. But you have to take everything with a grain of salt. I'm a fan of technology. I think it's helped me, but it can't be the end all be all for things. You have to be able to just look at things at an overall perspective, especially in scouting. I know that's been a huge conversation. How much technology should you use and those stats, and then how much do you rely on a scout's eye? I mean, you have to be able to use both and find a middle ground for both to be successful, in my opinion. But it's that's where the game's going. There's crazy technology out here nowadays. We have some ourselves. I can't speak on all the technology we have, but it's different.
They got that top secret stuff. Okay.
Yeah. It's some stuff that other teams don't have.
That G14 classified.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep my job.
Nah, we want you to do that, so we won't go into that technology. But one thing I do want to go into is like kind of the grassroots level of the game. I know an argument that's often had, particularly with basketball now, is like, hey, we play too many games. The AAU, they just play too many games.
Yeah.
Is it a situation from a grassroots? I'm not talking about major league. I'm talking about the grassroots. Do you think there's too many games being played, or baseball is a unique situation where that at bat experience you won't get anywhere else? A situation, you know what I'm saying?
Like, are there too many? Like,
are they just playing too many games? Like, is youth just playing too many games? Is it wearing down their bodies?
Oh,
are they not? Are they not improving their skill set because they're just in games all the time? Like, do you think that's an issue or no?
It can be. It can be definitely be an issue. It just depends on how much you're playing. Like a lot of these kids, like the high level kids, like they do really well at like managing like their gym and like working out, nutrition, and playing games. But like if you don't have guidance on how to take care of your body and continue to like grow and get better like physically, and you're just playing a bunch of games, like you're not going to get better. Like the skill is going to get better, but you need the physical with that. Like I've seen it where players just play baseball all summer, don't touch a weight, and they lose 10, 15 pounds. Like they're they're digressing their body. So it definitely can be a bad thing if not operated and navigated the right way. But if you do it the right way, like playing a lot of games shouldn't be a problem.
I really love the process of baseball when it comes to the farm systems and building up until you get to, I guess, the bag, so to speak, at the at Ohtani's bag. I don't know. Until you're building up to that. But I know sometimes in a lot of communities that could be seen as like, yo, I'm trying to get the bag now. That's we talked about NIL.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on the process of, hey, you got to go through these steps to get to where you want to get to, particularly in baseball?
The game has changed a bunch. So like now NIL is actually like these kids are making life-changing money. These kids are making like I've heard 6 figures, 7 figures in baseball for one player. You have to factor in now, like, how would I say that? Like these kids can get a bag now if they want to. And that's definitely a factor. And also like even when you're like if you're a high draft pick, like that signing bonus is crazy now in baseball. Like I don't know what it was. The first pick of the draft, it had to have been like $9 or $10 million signing bonus. And that's just a bonus. Like you're set for a long time with like $10 million. So, like, if you're, like, a high pick as well, like, you're getting the bag early. But like I said before, like, if you're going to, like, a lot of D1 schools mainly do NIL now, like, especially Power 5. Like, these kids are getting paid. Like, my brother goes to Auburn and, like, yeah. I'm going to leave that there.
Absolutely.
Shout out to little bro.
Absolutely. I said, when I say he got his own money, he's got his own money. All right, man. So we're wrapping it up here, man. What would be your pitch to all the youth, or people that are like playing and need to stick with the game? What's your pitch to the youth or for the culture to stay into the game?
Baseball can be a very rewarding game if you stick with it. Like, I know football and basketball are very prominent and popular within the game, but I'd encourage younger African Americans, like, look into baseball. Like, you can get a bag in baseball just like football and basketball. Like, baseball can pay for your college. Baseball is like a really good relationship builder. Like baseball is such a rewarding game. And I just encourage people to or African Americans, particularly younger African Americans, to just look into it. Just try it. Just try it. Like, that's what I would say, to be honest. Just try it. Give it a chance. Like, I know it may seem boring, like, but like if you really like dedicate your time to the game and really like fall in love with the game, it's like just as rewarding or even more rewarding as like football and basketball. Like, you see $700 million contract, like that doesn't happen that often in other sports.
Absolutely. So then that was kind of your assist, but I'm going to follow up with this because on your Forbes article, yeah, you was in Forbes. Little humble brag there. But so this is what we call the assist. This is where you kind of give us a quote or a quick kind of something you would tell your younger self. But in the assist, in your article, you said, and we kind of opened up with this, that the game of baseball teaches you a lot about yourself in life. What's one thing that stuck out that you learned about yourself throughout your whole career?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that question. That's a good question. Let me think about that. The one thing I feel like I learned about how resilient I am, I would say. Just like being, like I said, baseball is a game of failure. And like I learned, like I'm able to overcome challenges. I'm able to overcome a bad day. And like that has translated so much into like actual life now. Like if I have a bad day, like, okay, I'll just shake it off. I'll just flush it just like I did in baseball. Like now I'm just applying that to like life. And I feel like that has helped me so much, just like having that relentlessness, like ability to overcome that I learned from baseball. And I learned that about myself playing baseball. Like I have that ability to just overcome and to keep pushing when things get hard or like when things don't seem like it's going to go my way or haven't gone my way.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. All right, man. Well, time flies when you're having fun, man. Definitely want to kind of keep track. We want to see all the great things, and we're going to keep in touch. So if there's any ways we can support, always let us know. But MH, man, give us those final thoughts, please.
Now, Brandon, man, appreciate your time working with us, man, and keep finding those gems for the Pirates there, man. You got a new fan, so I'm not the one to be begging for stuff, but I gotta attend the game this year, man. This next year, man. I gotta see him. So
yeah, let me know.
Time, brother. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, as always, man, we want to thank our captain, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're on a different coast, so you're staying up a little late for us. So thank you. But like you said, you up late and up early. So
both. You got to do both.
Got to do both. So we appreciate you for sending that, keeping that grind up. And we want to thank you, the people, for listening. If you liked and enjoyed this show, please share it with others. We got someone doing something amazing for the culture, of the culture. So let's please support him. Share this episode. Maybe you got a young one or a little one in Little League or chasing that baseball dream that can just get some of this information. And then I forgot to say it, but just I'm going to repeat it right now. We're going to put all his contact information. He loves to reach out and open to reach out. So we'll put all of that stuff in the show notes. So if you got any questions, he's always open to kind of talking, to pushing you and helping however we can. And as you know, we drop a show every Thursday. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel because visual representation matters. If you can see it, you can be it. And then, we're everywhere else you listen to podcasts. So please, as we always say, stay safe, practice gratitude, and remember, we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.